That is his job, James. It is his job to be the face of the club. That's what he gets paid ridiculous amounts of money, not only to coach this team to be successful, which they haven't been really so far under him, but to answer those sort of questions.
It is, but I think his answer speaks to the internal tension that there is at Tottenham at the moment, which is, I think, reading between the lines, what he's saying really is that he's being asked to defend a strategy that he doesn't actually agree with, which is that he wants to sign more proven players who can come in and improve that team now. And Tottenham habitually don't do that. They tend to sign younger players on potential. They don't want to spend risk huge amounts of money. It's always been primarily a club that's run as a business rather than as a football club, and that's really why the fans are starting to voice their concerns towards the ownership and to Daniel Levy himself. And I think when Conte speaks about that, he's saying, well, look, I actually agree with the fans. I think we should be spending more money. I do want us to invest in this window. I do want them to back me because I can see quite clearly that we are short of where we want to be, and that is, he's used to challenging for titles in whatever team he manages. And I think that's the awkwardness there, is that he's thinking, well, Daniel Levy does not do many interviews. I think he's done one newspaper interview in a decade. That, by the way, was with me. Not to brag, but it was. But Daniel, he just doesn't speak. And Joe Lewis is one of the most reclusive owners of any Premier League club out there. So, I think he's thinking, well, look, if you guys really believe in this and you want me to buy into this, well, then one or two of you should be a bit more publicly visible to sell this vision to the fans. Because at the moment, I'm having to defend something that I don't actually believe in. And of course, that speaks to the wider issue with Conte, which is over his contract and why he's not signed a new deal yet.
So why didn't he sort this out when he came to the club? I mean, he was happy enough to come to Spurs, right? So any manager, and particularly a manager like him, who's actually in a position to demand things and to get guarantees, why don't you get all these things before you sign the piece of paper?
Well, maybe they gave you promises, It looks like before you get
then that's fine.
Before you get married, you say everything.
Well, do you know what then, Dan? When Conte answers a question, that's all he has to say. I was promised this, but they're not giving it to me. And there you go. Then they get off the hook.
Isn't it just Captain Deflecto?
Yes, given my own history and experiences in English football, it just seems an odd thing to say. That's not to say that it may very well be done differently in Italy, and if it is, I sympathise with that. But largely, the manager brings every different aspect of the club together in a way that's supposed to mean results, whether it's scouting, whether it's recruiting. He has a finger in every single one of those pies, and he's expected to bring it together. But especially when Spurs have been as poor as they have, results haven't been anything like you would expect from a team that is as expensively assembled as that. The football isn't in keeping with Spurs' own culture and history. You understand why the fans are getting aggrieved, and somebody is going to have to face that music.
How does this resonate with you, Frank?
Well, it looks like somebody who tries to get out of all the responsibilities, of the main responsibilities of the result that he has, and try to spray a little bit the responsibility to others. I played in France, it's a Latin country where the chairman comes to the dressing room and start to talk about tactics and talk to the press about tactics and explain to the journalists how the team should play. It's not the way it should be. I think it's the right way to do in England, and I really appreciated what I saw. I remember the chairman, Ken Bates, never interfere with any coaches while I was there. I think it was due to the coach to decide what he had to do, to explain what he wanted to do, to criticize the medical staff if he had to do, but not to the coach, to the president or anybody from the board to express, his feelings about the results of the club. So I don't like what he does. As Stevie said, he signed and he had everything in his hands to create what he wanted. So if he's not happy, he should be resentful toward himself and not towards somebody else.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.